Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel Learn English. And today we'll be learning lesson number 2.4, The Pulley, which is written and composed by George Herbert. And The Pulley is one of his best known poem, which is also a metaphysical poem in which he uses conceit as a type of a figurative language that is most commonly associated with John Donne. A conceit is a type of an extended metaphor where two very dissimilar things are compared. In this poem, the conceit revolves around the pulley. The poet George Herbert uses it to depict humanity's restless nature and the reason why human beings are incapable of being satisfied. When considering the conceit, think about the way that a pulley creates force and leverage. God kept rest to himself in order to always be able to pull mankind back. But this choice means humankind is continually running from places to place seeking out satisfaction. So let's move forward and learn about The Pulley, which is written by George Herbert. Let's do the warming up. Question number one, go through the following images and try to link them with our lives. For example, storm represents hardships that we face in our life. An owl represents wisdom. Rose represents the beauty that it stands for. A tree represents life. Clouds represent sorrowful moments. Bouquet represents honor. Stream represents determination, or the river represents determination. Mountain represents strength, and sunrise represents hope. This is the self activity which the students need to do. You may have often indulged in talking to yourself audibly, which means loudly. So many of us must be talking to ourselves loudly. For example, oh dear, why didn't I get up soon? Or let me finish this quickly and I'll be free. How silly of me, why didn't I think of it before? Such expressions are called dramatic monologues, which we will be learning in the poem as well. So what the students need to do is imagine and write monologues suitable in the following situation. For example, it's your birthday next week and you are imagining and you are thinking of a monologue which suits this theme. So you would write anything that you're talking to yourself. Oh, I have to get ready with so and so things, and I'm going to throw a big party. I'm expecting these gifts. Are all these dramatic monologues, which are expressions that you are talking to yourself but audibly, which means loudly. Okay, so this is a self activity which the students need to do. So in the first slide, everybody has seen what a pulley looks like. It is a mechanical device. Okay, so question number 3 asks us that the pulley is a mechanical device and we need to write down where it can be used and for what purpose. So it is actually a physics thing associated with physics. Okay, and why is it used and for what purpose can it be used is what we need to write. So pulley can be used to draw water from the well. Okay, we use a pulley for that. Next, a pulley is used in elevators, in exercise machines, in theaters to open curtains, to lift heavy objects at construction site. About the poet and the poem George Herbert. George Herbert was a Welsh poet who lived from 1593 to 1633. He was also a priest by profession and wrote a lot of religious poems with lot of imagery and conceit. Conceit is explained in the first intro slide. The poem exhibits a strange two-way relationship between God and his worshippers. So this is an example of conceit where two dissimilar things are compared. Though he has showered upon his worshippers all his blessings, somewhere he holds them with a pulley drawn to be grateful to him in all their endeavors. So according to the poet says that God has blessed human mankind with a number of blessings. However, he holds one of the blessing with him and draws human mankind like a pulley towards him, so that he wants human mankind to be grateful to him for all that they do. God gives so many precious gifts to the devotee, but at the same time, God expects something in return. What does he expect? What does he withhold? The pulley shows how God lifts man towards himself with the pulley of restlessness. So he says one quality that is common in all mankind is the quality of restlessness, and it is because of this quality God lifts up man towards him. What is distinctly metaphysical about this poem is that a religious notion is conveyed through a cellular scientific image. So, how a pulley is compared to a religious thing is what is different about this poem, and that is why it is called as a metaphysical poem. And this is also an example of conceit where a pulley is compared to religious notion. And poet George Herbert is a well-known poet who writes conceits. This is the analysis of the poem, which can be used by the students as appreciation of the poem as well. So this poem is written by George Herbert, and it is a religious and a metaphysical poem which centers around the pulley as a prime conceit in the poem. So a pulley is indirectly compared to a religious factor, which is called as a prime conceit. Herbert wants to unveil the truth that why human beings are so restless and unsatisfying despite of having all things in their life. So the students need to write what kind of a poem it is. It is a religious plus a metaphysical poem on top of the title in your textbook. Next, we'll talk about the poem in detail. A poem is a four-stanza poem that is separated into five sets of lines, which is called as quatrains. Each of these quatrains follow a structured rhyme scheme in the pattern of A B A B A, alternating ending sounds as the poet saw fit. The consistent repetition in the rhyme helps to give the poem an overwhelming feeling of unity. This makes sense as the entire poem is a piece of dialogue spoken by God or about God. So this is where the dramatic monologue comes into picture, where God is speaking to himself about human mankind. Next, restlessness, the longing for something different, something new, or something more, seems to be a part of human condition, and in this poem, George Herbert reflects on this human characteristic. The title is a metaphor drawn from a mechanical engineering. A pulley is a device by which pulling down or lifting up something. Restlessness is a device by which God lifts men and women to himself. So this is an example of conceit where a pulley is compared to restlessness. A pulley is a device by which you pull or lift something up, and restlessness is a device used by God by which God lifts men and women towards himself. Let's begin with the poem. The first stanza says, when God at first made man. So here the God is describing, which means the poet is describing the creation of human mankind by retelling the Christian story of creation with his few added details. So at first God made man, and he was having a glass of blessing standing by. Having a glass of blessing standing by, let us, he said, pour on him all we can, let the world's riches which dispersed lie contract into a span. So here in the first stanza, the speaker begins by describing the creation of human mankind by retelling a Christian story and adding few details. In this, the speaker is able to describe what God was thinking and feeling when he decided to make humanity. God saw what he had made and decided to pour a glass full of blessings on human mankind. The speaker or the poet says, relays God's word at the moment as he addresses all of the creation. He decides to pour on human mankind all that God can. The world's riches, he's ready to pour the world's riches, which means the world's wealth on human mankind, right from beauty to strength, everything he's ready to give the human mankind, which God says it's dispersed here and there. So what I am going to do is, what God is going to do is, God is going to collect them, contract them, collect them together in a small space and pour on human mankind all the blessings right from strength to beauty, because they have come together into a span, which means they have come together into a small space, and I am ready to pour all the blessings, all that I can on human mankind. Coming to the second stanza, which says, so strength made a way. So strength first made a way, which means in the poem, the poet is trying to say that the first blessing in the poem, the pulley, that came to humanity was strength. It made its way. Then flowed beauty, then wisdom, honor, pleasure. Next came beauty, which was soon followed by the other blessings, which was wisdom, honor, and lastly pleasure. So according to the poet, these are all incredibly important part of the human experience. And there is one more element which is important and interesting, though that in this retelling of creation, the poet chooses not to include, and that was rest. So we'll read the entire poem now. When almost all was out, God made a stay, perceiving that alone of all his treasures, rest lay in the bottom, which means God was noticing that alone of all his treasures, only one treasure was lying in the bottom, and that treasure is rest. Rest, according to the poet, is as equal and as important a blessing to beauty and strength, and it is something very interesting. It is not something that one might think of as a feature immediately, but in this narrative or in this poem, it is a treasure that remains at the bottom of God's cup. He chooses not to give it to humanity because of his choices that remain contained within the next two paragraphs. So the answer for this, of God not giving this quality or this blessing to humanity, lies in the next two stanzas, which we would do right away. The third stanza, which says, for if I should, said he, bestow this jewel also on my creature, he would adore my gifts instead of me, and rest in nature, not the God of nature. So both should be losers. So in the next 5 lines, the speaker describes how it was God's choice not to bestow rest or humanity on human mankind, because God knew that if he did so, human mankind would adore the gifts instead of God. Here the poet Herbert thinks that God made this choice because he didn't want human mankind spending their days worshipping nature. Instead, they should be appreciating the God of nature, the God who made nature. Rest as a blessing is not something that is an integral part of human life, and God made an informed, at least to him, the choice to withhold. So God has deliberately made this choice of withholding the most interesting blessing of rest, because he wants human mankind to appreciate the God of nature, the God who made nature, and not nature by itself. Coming to the fourth stanza, the poet says, "Yet let him keep the rest," which means the poet finishes up God's reasoning behind his choice of not giving humanity a complete life of rest. God is willing to give humans rest, but not complete rest. Here in the poem, the poet says that God does not want humanity to ever rest, but he can rest in different periods by saying, "Yet let him keep the rest, but keep them with repining restlessness," which means humankind have to be dissatisfied, have to be anxious, and have to have that anxiety. That is when humankind will come closer to God and ask for rest. So God says, "Let humankind be rich and weary, that at last, if goodness lead him not, yet weariness may toss him to my breast." So the poet says that only and only if man is tired, a man is restless, anxious, exhausted, that is when he will think about the nature of God, and he will think about God of nature, and then get back to God and start worshipping him. The poet says it is ideal for everyone to rest only until they feel restless. They should feel restless, ask for rest, and then get back on to their lives. God believes that if there is weariness in one's everyday life, then that feeling of exhaustion will bring humankind closer to God. There are different periods of activity, which is exhaustion, rest, rejuvenation, which forms an integral part of human existence, which is close to strength and wisdom. Here in this poem, the poet has purposely added rest to make humankind feel the importance of how integral and interesting the blessing of rest is. And here in the poem, God is forcing mankind to get close to him because he has withheld the quality of rest by forcing his followers to follow him. The summary of the poem, The Pulley, which is written by John Herbert, speaks on one part of the Christian creation story in which God chose to imbibe humans with choicest of his blessings. Here in the poem, the speaker begins stating that he is retelling the story of the creation, which he is particularly interested in, where God gives humankind knowledge, wisdom, beauty, strength, and all the blessings which are stacked in a cup. These are the most important feature of human existence that flowed easily from God to mankind. However, there is only one blessing that God did not let out of his cup, and that blessing is called rest. He chose to withhold an innate ability to rest from human mankind in order to keep his creation close to him. God says, "When one gets weary, they will turn to me." So the poet says, when one gets weary, they will turn to God. Or that is his reasoning. Herbert, the speaker, states that God did not want humanity to love nature more than they love the God of nature. So this is the summary of the poem where God is willing to do whatever it takes to make humankind happy. But however, God wants something in return. As rightly discussed in the introduction of the poet, what does God actually want? God actually wants that humans should love God of nature and not the creation. Okay, and that is why he's kept this important and integral quality of rest with him, stating that only when humankind is tired, that is when humankind will think about the creation, will think about the supernatural power that lies above him. So this is the summary of the poem, students. Let's get on to discussions quickly, and this you need to attempt all of these in your textbook. So question number 1, with the help of the clues, pick out words containing the letter A from the poem and build a word pyramid. So an article, we have three articles, a and the. So if there is only one box, you would have the article a here. Next, a preposition which starts with A is at. Past tense of lie is lay, L-A-Y. Maximum length of your poem palm is a span, S-P-A-N. Make much of is adore, A-D-O-R-E. Loveliness is beauty. In place of is instead. A collection of priceless valuables is treasure. Last is restlessness and discontent is weariness. So you need to pick out the words containing A and you need to build the word pyramid according to the words just discussed. Question number 2, choose the correct alternatives from the following. Herbert's poem The Pulley displays origin of morality and spirituality. Next one, the theme of the poem The Pulley is to focus on the mechanical operation of a pulley and to remind man about his creator in his exhaustion. So the theme is about the mechanical operation and to remind man about his creator. Next, in the poem, the pulley is considered an image by which God compels people to become devout. Dash is an example of pun from the poem. Rest in the bottom lay is an example of pun because pun is a play on words which sound the same or similar, which is usually used for comic effect. Okay, so there are some examples given on the slide. The only date that is a command is March 4. So what do you understand by this sentence? The only date that is a command is March 4. So this is a command as well when you're telling somebody to march and you're asking them to march for, and this is also a date, which means it is a play on words which sound similar or same, which is usually used for a comic effect. So in this sentence, this is a pun. Why? Rest in the bottom lay is one of the blessing, and rest is something that is left over. Okay, so there are two meanings of pun in this sentence, that is rest, that is left over, and rest as in a quality of resting, sleeping. Dash is an example of synecdoche from the poem. First, we need to understand what is a synecdoche. A synecdoche is the whole is replaced by a part or the part is replaced by a whole. For example, 50 heads of a cattle. Here, head means the entire animal or the entire cattle. Okay, that is why animal is replaced by head, which is an example of synecdoche. So in this four sentences, the example of synecdoche is may toss him to my breast. Why? Because the word breast is used to represent God. A part is used to represent the whole. Next, dash is an example of alliteration. Repining restlessness is an example. Why? Because R is repeated twice. Dash is an example of inversion from the poem. So both should be losers. So both should losers be. The correct structure of the sentence is so both should be losers. Next, the rhyme scheme of the poem as discussed is ABABA. What is the example of paradox from the poem? First, we need to understand what is a paradox. A paradox is a statement which is logical, reasonable, but contradicts itself without necessarily being untrue, which means it is a true statement. So in this example, let him be rich and weary is an example of paradox. So here we are saying at one time let him be rich, and in the other time we are saying let him be rich and weary. So this is a true statement but a contradictory statement, which is an example of paradox. The poet has used the word rest thrice in the poem. Write what the word implies in each of these three lines it occurs. So in the first line, students, the poem has said rest lay in the bottom. So here rest refers to a treasure or a blessing which remains at the bottom of the cup. Next, and rest in nature and not the nature of God. So here rest means appreciate and worship the creator and not the creation. Next, yet let him keep the rest, which means here rest means the remaining qualities and blessing bestowed upon man. Question number 2, why did God withhold the gift of rest from man? So here the answer is God withheld the quality of gift from man because he thought that man would turn greedy, conceited, and would forget the maker of the blessings, and that is why he kept the important and integral quality of rest with himself only. Justify the title of the poem The Pulley in your own words. The pulley is a scientific representation of man's helplessness and reliance on God for salvation. The poem invokes a visual imaginary of heavy object being lifted by a pulley to the desired place. The pulley in the poem is man's restlessness and weariness, which acts as a pulley to reach God. You need to pick out three monologues of God, which is let us pour on him all we can, which means God is talking to himself. Let the world's riches which disperse lie, and the last is for I should bestow. These are the dramatic monologues which God is audibly speaking to himself. Figures of speech will be discussed on this slide. Two examples of antithesis are let the world's riches which disperse lie contract into a span. So disperse and contract are opposite words which lie in the same line. Next, yet let him keep the rest, but keep them with repining restlessness. Rest and restlessness are two opposite words that lie in the same line. Alliteration is when God at first made man. M is repeated in made and man. Similarly, but keep them with repining restlessness, R is repeated in repining and restlessness. Inversion, where the words are altered for poetic effect. Rest in the bottom lay. The correct order of the word is rest lay in the bottom. And next is so both should losers be. The correct order is so both should be losers. Explaining the figures of speech on this slide, rest in the bottom lay is an example of pun. Why? Because we are giving out the meaning of two different comical things, like rest means remaining and rest also means to relax, sleep, or have a peace of mind, and that is why rest in the bottom lay is an example of pun. Next, bestow this jewel on my creature. So there is an indirect comparison between jewel and rest, and that is why it is an example of metaphor. Next, and rest in nature, not the nature of God. It is repetition because the word nature is being repeated twice. So in this slide, we'll be understanding what pun is and how is it defined. Pun can be defined as play on words based on their different meanings. For example, writing with a broken pencil is pointless. So first, what we're trying to say is writing with a broken pencil is of no use, and second, it is pointless, which means without a point and is of no use. So we are conveying two different meanings in a comical way. In this poem, there are examples of fun. So the students need to find out n number of examples with the help of the internet and share it or write it down in your classwork. For example, why teddy bears are never hungry? Because they are always stuffed. So teddy bear is a stuffed toy, everybody knows, and because it is a stuffed toy, it is never hungry. Next, shout out to the people that do not know what the opposite of in is. So first thing is we have to shout out, means we have to tell the people how come you do not know the opposite of in. And next is you are also giving out the answer. The opposite of in is out. Next, this picture is self-explanatory. The ruler is saying you rock. It's telling its name and also telling you rock. And the rock is telling you rule. Okay, so it's telling its name and also asking them to take charge and leadership. So this is a self-explanatory and it's like a play on words which you need to do it as a self activity. Next, coming, this is a self activity where the students need to attempt in the textbook itself. First one is write the blessings that God has blessed us with apart from that which is mentioned. I have mentioned this in this last slide as well. Next, you need to give one example when man generally turns to God, and write the critical appreciation of the poem in a paragraph format, okay, which has already been discussed before. That brings us to the end of the poem, The Pulley. And this is your assignment, students. You need to write a paragraph on the points in each block given to get a summary. So this has to be attempted in the textbook itself. Write a summary on each of the paragraphs with the help of the points. You also need to write the blessings that God has blessed us with apart from whatever is mentioned in the poem. This also can be attempted in the textbook itself. So thank you very much, students, for watching my video. Please like and subscribe. If you haven't done so, please do it now. If you have any doubts, please write it in the comments or post a question in the group and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you, everyone.